Sam Levinson. The first season of Euphoria is one of my favorite shows ever. It had the melodrama of a teen drama, which I love, but it was also a smarter and more grounded show that really took time to empathize and stick with its characters, on top of being just a ton of fun. It really felt like Sam Levinson both had a decent understanding of what it's like to be a teenager in the current day, as well as a pretty decent understanding of the topics that he was choosing to cover, because, you know, when you cover dark topics, you have to cover it with sensitivity. It was one of the best acted shows of that year. It looked phenomenal, and one of my favorite parts was McKay, who I think is one of the best and most realistic depictions of black masculinity on TV. A genuinely good guy with a good heart who is pushed to his limit by his black parents, who are trying to prep him for a world that doesn't really like people that look like him. And although he has a good heart and he genuinely has good intentions, a failure to really see or understand the perspective of the women around him, also the fact that he keeps such terrible company, which he himself doesn't even really like in his heart of hearts, ends up leading to his undoing and destroying a relationship that was really good. Also, a scene where he's sexually assaulted, which obviously sexual assault is not good, but the portrayal of this kind of thing happening to a black man, which is something that's deemed emasculating and, you know, gay by most people. And, you know, when you think of someone that's a victim of SA, you don't really think of someone that looks like McKay. Now, my hype for season 2 was astronomical. Sam Levinson had really laid out the groundwork for having one of the best seasons of TV ever. An excellent first season, which I've seen maybe 4 times at this point all the way through. And 2 special episodes, which I think are 2 of the best written and acted pieces of media of their respective years. Season 1 kind of ended off on the perfect point, where all of the stories could be explored on a much deeper and harsher level. How will Jules embrace her femininity, and how will she deal with the fact that Rue basically relapsed because they broke up? Will Cassie overcome her desire for male validation, or will she fall further into a depression because she just had an abortion? And what I was really interested to see, how will McKay move forward? Will he put his toxically masculine life behind him and instead fight for himself and what he actually wants and who he actually wants to be with, regardless of what his stupid friends or his annoying father really wants for him, especially after his sexual assault? And season 2 totally lays the groundwork for this perfectly. The first episode was amazing. McKay has 2 amazing scenes in the first episode, which really set him up for having a very eventful and very important season 2. And then all the themes of season 1 are further explored in episode 2, where he has a 2-second cameo. And then episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, in which he is not there. Now, there were a lot of little red flags for Euphoria season 2. Before the show came out, there were a bunch of critics that went on Twitter saying that they got press releases, and, you know, they were saying that the show is darker, it's funnier, but a lot of characters aren't really there that much. Jules is barely in the show. I was like, hey, you could be lying. I don't know you, okay? Media literacy is an epidemic, okay? I'm not going to fall for it. I'm going to watch the show, and I'm going to form my own opinion, because there is no way that Sam Levinson could do me wrong. The first episode came out, it was like Christmas Day. Everyone loved it. Episode 2 comes out, and Twitter is not really feeling it. Where's the story? The story's not going anywhere. This episode, nothing happened in it. Guys, I was on some intellectuals. HBO should really, they owe me a check, because I was going defense. Relax. Your guys' brains are poisoned by Netflix dropping season after season in a day, and you watch it in 8 hours and you move on and forget about it. Chill. Guys, HBO has been doing the weekly episode release for longer than we've been alive. They got it. Trust Sam Levinson, because there is no way that he can do us wrong. Episode 3 comes out, and not only does Twitter double down on its worries that the show has no plot, more things come out about, you know, on-set rumors and, you know, disputes behind the scenes, people beefing with Sam Levinson and Sam Levinson cutting their scenes down out of spite, rumors of the show having to cut out a lot of explicit sexual and nude scenes because Sam Levinson was pushing for them so much. I'm like, that is a little concerning, but hey, I don't know everything. Let's just keep watching the show, guys. I am still waiting for some of those themes to be reincorporated into this season's plot and theme, but as far as I'm concerned, he has the HBO show, and we don't. Episode 4 comes out, and people are like, okay, what is this show? And I'm like, guys, episode 4 had Cal Jacobs standing butt naked in his foyer complaining about how he's a closeted homosexual to his wife and 2 children. One of the best scenes of the entire year. We are halfway, but hey, I don't have the HBO show. He does, and there is no way that episode 5 comes out. I'm like, I told you! One of the best episodes of the entire year, a standout performance from Zendaya. I knew it. I told you guys. Just hang on. This is kind of a diffusion episode from the main plot of this season, which is nothing to begin with, but episode 6 comes out, everyone's like, okay, this show is terrible. I'm like, guys, there are 2 whole episodes left. I am a little bit concerned because I haven't seen much of Kat or McKay, and the whole show has basically been about a love triangle that should have been a C plot at best. But guys, there is no way episode 7 comes out. I'm like, this is an 8-episode season. And then there was the finale, Euphoria Season 2, to quote Friendly Space Ninja, honestly is the most egregious act of character assassination I have ever seen in my entire life. I originally gave it an 8 out of 10, but the more I think about it, the more I hate it. Euphoria Season 2 is not terrible. It's more like a 6 out of 10, but when your first season was a 10 out of 10, a 6 out of 10 follow-up kind of seems like a slap in the face. If Season 2 came out and that was like Season 1, it would be great. I would love like the slice of life drifting plot kind of thing. I'd be a little tired of the love triangle, but it's more mature and layered in this season than it is in, let's say, like a Pretty Little Liars, where the main relationship of the show is a teenage girl and a 30-year-old man. But Euphoria didn't start with Season 2. It started with Season 1, and typically how shows work. So there were a lot of things that happened in Season 1 that were never addressed ever again, including McKay's sexual assault scene, Catherine's illegal underage online behaviors, Catherine, and I just have to say this now. I've thought about it. I've listened to the reactions. I've listened to the defenses. I don't care. That last scene with Ashtray is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a mainstream show in my entire life. And honestly, I was starting to slowly agree with the things that people were saying about Mr. Levinson online. Sam Levinson has always been an interesting writer. I've seen everything that he's done. I think Euphoria Season 1 and the special episodes are still the best things that he's ever done. Although there are moments of, being out of touch and being a little... It seems like he kind of put his own ego and personal experiences aside until they were most needed to make an actually excellent season of television. He's a self-insert writer. You can tell when he's not writing a character, he is writing himself and his own words for the character to say. And there's a lot of stuff like that in Season 2. Malcolm and Marie is basically 2 hours of that, which I didn't mind it. But now that I know that it was based off of something that really happened and he was at fault, it kind of makes me look at you kind of like, what is wrong with you? And then Assassination Nation, which is like Euphoria before Euphoria, which to this day I still can't decide whether I love that movie or I think it's kind of bad. Also, his portrayal of, was particularly egregious in Season 2. I'm not someone that's like super puritanical about sex scenes and nudity in TV shows. I know that's like a growing topic of discourse online. Honestly, I defend Cassie being topless in Nate's dream in episode 2. It makes a lot of sense because Nate views women in a very transactional, like user kind of way. But does Cassie need to be nude in every single scene? You have to remember these characters, not the actors, but the characters are underage. So if you're going to show something like that, it should have some kind of purpose. If they're in their 30s and you want to show them walking naked to go to Starbucks, you go ahead. But when the character is 16, I think maybe show a little bit of restraint. And also, I was honestly defending the McKay essay scene in the first season because I thought it was laying the groundwork for an excellent character study into, honestly, a very common experience for young black men. However, when you show someone getting raped and then you kind of just never talk about it again, it kind of feels like you're not doing that for the story, and it kind of feels like you're doing it for guys, oh my god, shock value, click 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 send. It feels like shock value and you're cheapening the stuff that you want to talk about. All of this made me both excited and nervous for The Idol. I was nervous because The Idol is a show that's even more explicitly about the exploitation and sexualization of women. And if Sam Levinson's portrayal was anything like season 2 of Euphoria, we were in for some weird stuff. Also, the idea of a show or movie about women who explore the seedy underbelly of LA in order to get successful or famous and end up being sexualized and exploited by men, it's kind of played out at this point. Guys, what if there was a movie where women were abused? What if there was a town in which women were exploited in exchange for fame? But I was still excited because A, I don't think that you can chalk up how good I think Euphoria's first season and its special episodes were to a fluke. And also, it was being co-written and co-starred by this man named Abel Tesfaye, I don't know if you've heard of him, who has very cinematic music, which kind of touches on similar themes that the show and even Euphoria discuss, especially his trilogy of first mixtapes, as well as, you know, other songs in his discography, Kissland also, in which he portrays himself as an unlikable main character that kind of uses women and drugs as a vice to escape from his own personal demons. And honestly, with how successfully and masterfully he portrayed that narrative in his music, I was excited to see him transfer that to film, and I was always going to watch the show. In fact, I was going to make this video, as well as videos analyzing all of Sam Levinson's work leading up to The Idol, which I would watch and post a reaction of every episode as the weeks go on. However, I'm recording this on March 1st because some news just dropped about an hour and a half ago about The Idol, and it's bad. In fact, it's probably worse than what I was expecting. There was already news about the Weeknd not really wanting the show to go into too much of a female perspective, which is already kind of terrifying because there's nothing inherently wrong with showing a male perspective. Obviously, if you were not able to tell, I am a man, but when you're showing female abuse from the male perspective, it's not really as punk as you think or as revolutionary as you believe it to be. Because, believe it or not, we kind of live in a world that is run by the male perspective. But today, we've just gotten word that Sam Levinson has slowed down production of The Idol because he wants to completely rework the series. He wants to shift it back towards the male perspective, and he also wants to put more frequent and more brutal scenes of sexual assault in the show. Now, I'm no one to tell you what to do. I'm 17 years old. I've never made a film, and this is America, okay? If you want to strip naked, lather yourself in gasoline, and strike a match and light yourself on fire, you go right ahead and you do that. But honestly, I don't really think that it's a male filmmaker's place to show sexual assault like that. Now, let me explain. I have seen a few films made by men that were well-intentioned, but they kind of felt really gross, and I know they're supposed to feel gross, but they didn't feel gross for the reasons that were intended. They feel gross because it feels like an exercise in misery and cruelty, which, funny enough, is a line that I was going to put in another video about another HBO show that I was supposed to record today, but I instead decided to record a video about this because this is trending and I'm a clout goblin. Not to say that filmmakers can't show other perspectives that aren't them, but I'm just saying, like, if you do it from your limited, because you're always going to have blind spots. I don't really understand what it's like to be myself, let alone a woman. I'm not saying that you can't show it. I'm just saying you have to show some restraint, or else it's going to feel like you're doing this because you want to see it. And especially from a writer-director like Sam Levinson, who has scenes of self-inserts that are so egregious that the characters might as well, like, look straight at the camera and say, "Hi, I'm Sam Levinson." It kind of feels like it's something that you want to see and you want to do, and that's bad. Also, suffering of any kind, whether it's SA or, you know, slavery, I don't even want to talk about this movie because I'm going to throw up. It has to have a reason and not just to make the audience feel something. There has to be something that you knew that you have to add to it. Otherwise, you're kind of just showing something very traumatic that many of your viewers have gone through, and you're shining a light on it and being like, "Hey guys, that's pretty bad, right? That's gross, right? Run me my Emmy. Run me my Emmy. I got the Golden Globe in a lock." Guys, hold up. Guys, newsflash. Guys, did you know? Guys, did you know? Did you know that rape is bad? Did you know that women are exploited and abused? Especially in Hollywood. I got the Golden Globe in a lock. Oh my god. There's been a lot of movies from men about, like, female suffering, but I honestly think the best one ever is Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me. The film is made with empathy and restraint. You're shown harsh and brutal things, but you're not shown it with the amount of explicitness that Sam shows it in, and I honestly think it's, not to be funny, I think it's a skill issue. If you can't get the audience to care or feel the brutality of the scene that you're trying to communicate without showing explicit graphic nudity and making it as, like, egregious and Pornhubby as possible, you might just be a bad writer. What sets Fire Walk With Me apart from all of the other faux feminists, We Stand With You women movies like Blonde, and I never even finished that. I was gonna make a video on it, so I watched half of it, and it was, like, so boring. It was literally like a rape compilation. I couldn't. He leaves a lot to the imagination, and, you know, obviously because he's David Lynch, the man can show you paint drying on a wall, and, you know, there would be like a million layers to it. He toned down the campy aspects of the original show because he knew that this was a serious movie. And even in the portrayal of men, even the good guy in the movie, James, doesn't truly see Laura for who she is. He sees her as kind of like a semi-manic pixie dream girl. I just lost 10 years off my life for saying those words in that sequence. And although this is a more common theme to be explored nowadays, it was not really that common in 1992. And I honestly don't know why we're still seeing movies like this when that movie is still available to watch. I saw it on YouTube for free. Lynch probably doesn't care. He probably put that on YouTube himself. You can depict other people's experiences. You should have said people in your writing, directing camp, team, council to kind of show you what's what and what's real and what's appropriate to show. But when you're completely halting the show so that you can strip it of its female perspective, so that you can write it from a male perspective, and that male perspective consists of dozens of sexual assault scenes, and you're a writer known for having self-inserts, it makes me look at you like maybe you need to go to jail. I'd like to present a trigger warning for the show. Listen, girlies, we stand with you. I know that I'm showing a lot of graphic, brutal, disgusting forms of sexual assault in the show, including a scene where a woman... What? But we're showing these scenes for a reason, okay? We're creating these very disgusting, visceral images that will stick with you guys for the rest of your life. And I know, since that this is HBO and I created Euphoria, and that The Weeknd is attached to this project, and Rachel Sennett is in this project, and Lily Rose Depp is as well, there's going to be a very large female audience for this show. And I know that I'm showing you very disgusting, elongated, gross scenes, of which a lot of my viewers have probably lived out to some extent. I just gotta tell you that this is for a reason. I'm trying to show you... What? Oh, you already know that rape is bad. Well, men don't, and this is really about the men. Okay, this is about the guys. Okay, and that's what... What? Oh, showing it from a male perspective, in which case the male is the one committing the sexual assaults, will not really do much good, and will just be shock value to get us trending #1 on Twitter every Sunday night. Donate half of the proceeds to sexual assault victims.
His name is John C.
No, I promise I'm never usually this reactionary, but as a fan of TV, you know, a semi-fan of Sam Levinson, a pretty big fan of The Weeknd, and a fan of women, I'm kind of scared. Kind of view this video as an episode 1. I'm still going to upload videos talking about Assassination Nation. Maybe I won't make a video on Euphoria Season 1. Maybe I'll just jump straight to Season 2. Also, The Idol weekly videos. Very interested to see where this goes. Very scared. So anyway, guys. Did you know that punching women in the face is wrong? Thanks for watching. You could have done anything else with your time and you chose to watch this video. Goodbye, and God bless Ew. I need my life to be taken immediately.